Have you ever wondered how dealers and resellers make a profit on their sales, especially when they are selling for low prices at a flea market or car boot? Well, make sure you watch this video to the very end to find out how I source my stock and the profits I expect to make off it.
Welcome back to the channel. My name's Mark and I buy and sell antiques, vintage and collectibles on my antiquecentral.co.uk website. Now, I've been asked a couple of times what sort of stock you get when you buy job lots at the pop-up auctions, so I thought I would show you two boxes I recently acquired. Now, it's important to remember that the sort of job lots you'll get from a pop-up auction will be quite different to the job lots you get from a traditional auction house which has access to the internet. So you'll have potential bidders from all around the country, if not the world. So you're always going to get a slightly better deal at a pop-up auction. And don't forget, of course, on every bid there will be the lot fee plus the buyer's premium. Now, I paid in total for each of these boxes approximately £11, give or take a few pennies, and that includes, as I've mentioned already, the £1 lot fee plus the buyer's premium of 10%. So in total, I paid around £22 for these two boxes. So let's take a look at each box and see what they contain. And what I'll do is I'll estimate what I think I can resell them for. Now, this will be a rough estimate because prices at the moment in the antiques game, or I should say the antiques and vintage game, are all over the place. And it's very difficult to put an accurate price on every item. It's all about finding the right buyer. Now, some of these items in that respect will go onto the website and the rest will go onto my flea market table when I sell at the local markets around the central England region. So without further ado, to coin that often used YouTube phrase, let's take a look at what I've bought. Right, I've cleared the mat and I've done a little bit of research. So now it's time to look at each individual item contained in the job lot boxes, and at the end of the video I'll tell you what it all adds up to and whether or not I've made a profit. First up, we have this lovely hand-carved African elephant, and I believe it's an African elephant based on the size of the ears. It is solid wood. It has, I'm pretty sure those are plastic tusks, so there's no need to worry at all about the ivory content. As we all know now, buying and selling ivory in the UK is all but illegal. So you want to steer really well clear of any items you think may contain ivory. So it's a very nice piece. The detail in the carving is quite good. And it's not signed anywhere. So it's probably a piece of tribal African sculpture, and value-wise, these sell typically for around £20 to £30. So I'll probably take the mid-range and put it on the website for £25. Next up, we have a pair of early 20th century barley twist candlesticks. Now, they have a white metal alloy sconce on the top with the drip pan, and they have the original bays on the base. So, and barley twist refers to the pattern of the stem, as you can see. The more valuable ones are the open barley twists, so you can see through the stem. But I would put these at the early part of the 20th century, probably pre-war. Price-wise, again, all over the place. But I would estimate for the pair in the region of £20. So not a bad return on the box so far, just with two items. Right, next up is an early 20th century cigarette dispenser. Now it works by a very simple mechanical action. So all you do is you lift it up slightly, slide open the top, like that. Place your cigarettes into the two compartments. You then slide the top back on, let it drop back down, and then when you want a cigarette, you simply lift it up and the cigarettes roll onto the central part. Let it drop back down and it pushes the cigarette up to the top. So hopefully I've explained that okay. I don't smoke myself, so I haven't got any cigarettes to demonstrate. But it's a very simple mechanical device. Price-wise, approximately £20. Next, we have a couple, or I should say a pair of quite interesting items. And they are these hand-carved figurines. Now, they're actually salt and pepper. As you can see in the bottom there, there's the release for the bottom, so you can fill it up. And I don't know if I can, there you go. So it's a little piece of wood. Yeah, it's not cork, it's wood. And that's simply, you put your salt or your pepper inside and then plug it up. Give it a twist. And very primitive, hand carved. Now, I think these are possibly Canadian folk art and by an artist called Berthier Beauregard. Now, I think I've sold a piece of his before. It was a canoe with two individuals paddling it. And I got good money for that. I think these potentially could be worth in the region of, wait for it, £60 if they are Canadian folk art by Berthier Beauregard. So a little bit more research to do, but I've got my fingers crossed. And the only issue is there is some damage. Now, I believe he is probably a farmer, and I think he would have been holding some kind of a farming implement. I don't know what. Could have been a fork or a spade or something similar, but it's gone. It's broken off. So that has considerably reduced the value. So it may be, rather than 40, I might be looking in the region of 20 to 40. Time will tell. I think to start off with, they'll go onto the website, see how I get on with them, and if they're not shifting, then I'll put them on the flea market table. So there we go. Two hand-carved primitive figurines, hopefully Canadian folk art. Next we have an interesting little item, and there is a moral in the story with this. And it's a small hand-carved owl, solid wood, some kind of hardwood. It's not signed anywhere. Always check the signatures. As I said earlier, it came in a job lot box that I paid approximately £11 for. Now, when I first saw this and picked it out the box, my heart jumped a little bit because I thought, is this possibly a carving by an American artist called Seymour Shippey, I believe? If it is, potentially it's worth quite a lot of money. But he does tend to sign the bottom of his carvings quite clearly. Can't see any signature. Doesn't look as though it's been removed. Why would anyone remove it anyway? It's that sort of modernist style, so it's of the right era, mid-century. I'm going to do a bit more research on it, but at the moment, in my mind, I'm assuming it's not by Shippey, so I'm going to value it for the purpose of this video at £20. Could be worth a little bit more than that. Time will tell. Next, we have a couple of wooden presentation plaques. Now, I'll show you both at the same time in the interest of not extending this video too long. Now, these are naval, and they're ship's well, this one here is a ship's presentation plaque, and it's HMS Victory. And this one is the Duke of Edinburgh Royal Regiment. They're quite common, and individually they'll probably, I estimate, they would sell for in the region of £25 each. Now, I might not get that. I'll probably start it up at 25. If I can pick up 20 for each one, then I'd be happy with that. So if there's any militaria collectors out there and you're interested, get in touch on the website. All my details are there. But a couple of nice items came with the job lot, so it's all a bonus, isn't it? Anyway, so 2 wooden, probably hand-painted, I suspect, ship's presentation plaques. Right, next we have, this is fairly utilitarian, it's a folding ruler. There you go. And it extends out to 24 inches. It's 2 feet. Or, for those of you in the metric world, 60 centimetres. And it is by, I'll just see if there's a maker's name. Well, it's not British made, it's actually made in China, which, with all due respect to China, will probably devalue it a bit. If it had been a well-known British manufacturer, then it would have been worth more money. But it's well made. As you can see, it's got brass fittings. And it doesn't look as though it's been used that much. So, price-wise, I'll start this off at £15, and that'll be on the flea market. With this won't go anywhere near the website. So £15, see how we get on. May well end up selling it for £10, which I would be happy with. And finally, we have 2 pairs. There's another pair in there. We have a couple of pairs of shoe stretchers. Now, these are Victorian period, so they're the more valuable out of the 2. I'll show you the second pair in a minute. Slightly more valuable, and they are adjustable on the thread. You can see how the thread works there. So, adjustable shoe stretchers. Probably beech, hardwood, lasted well. A couple of initials on them. I would say the initials of the previous owner. Maybe these came out of a private school or a large family, or maybe a stately home, and it was one of the servants or staff working at the house. I don't know. Who knows? We'll never know, will we? But very nice condition. I wouldn't touch the patina at all. Just leave it as is. Sell it as original, fully working. Price-wise, I think, done a little bit of research. They tend to sell for around £30. So for the pair. So I'd be happy with it if I got that. Well, I'd be really happy if I got that. I will try them on the website first, and then I'll go to the flea market if they don't sell within 3 months. So a lovely Victorian period pair of adjustable shoe stretchers, and possibly ladies' shoe stretchers. And the second pair are these Saxon, again adjustable, shoe lasts or shoe stretchers, or shoe forms, various names. Now they are mechanical, and you adjust them via the mechanism So that I can stretch it that way. And that lever there, I assume, well, rule one is never assume anything, but I've just broken it. I don't know what that does. Maybe, yeah. You live and learn, don't you? It's the first pair of these I've ever had. These, that would just be the pull. So put it in your shoe and you pull it out, hold it on that. So that doesn't do any adjustment as far as I can make out. All the adjustment in terms of the shoe stretcher is this device here, which is a little geared mechanism which extends it out. Now, these are vintage as opposed to antique. The other pair were Victorian. These are probably early, mid 20th century. And value-wise, I would estimate, as I say, I've done a little bit of research. Well, probably 20 to 25, so not much cheaper, but just purely because of the mechanical mechanism, and this also has the Saxon. There is the Saxon, and if that will focus, hopefully it will. It has the maker's mark as well, the Saxon maker's mark on both of them. So, and it also has the size on the bottom, which says 85B. So I don't know what that means. No idea. Anyway, about £25 for the pair. These look more like, well, again, they could be ladies' shoes, couldn't they? They're quite narrow, so I don't know. Possibly ladies' shoes. Stretchers. So, good. There you go. That's box number 1. Right, now we'll look at box number 2. This will be a quicker box because there's less items and there were duplicates. First up, we have 3 Johnny Walker Black Label water jugs. Now, I bought these, well, they were part of the job lot, but what attracted me to the overall job lot is it was Tabacchiana and Breweryana. Breweryana is anything related to breweries, alcohol, and Tabacchiana is to do with cigarettes and smoking. So they kind of fit together. And the reason I went for this job lot was because a lot of people now have, since 2020, have installed home bars. So they don't necessarily go out to restaurants or pubs. They tend to invite friends round to their house. So this kind of branded collectible item should be fairly desirable. They don't go for huge money. There are 3 of them. I won't get them all out. There are 3 of them. They're all identical, and they sell for around £10 each. So I've got 3 of those, £30 in total, if I can find the right buyer on the day. There was one one-off item, which is this Carling Black Label water jug. And Carling Black Label in the UK is a lager. So Breweryana, piece of Breweryana. I believe, reading the base, yeah, it's Wade. There you go. Wade, PDM, England. So I think Wade made a lot of this ceramic Breweryana paraphernalia. But being branded, that's the... Sorry if the light's reflecting. It's the branding is the all-important part. Otherwise, this should just be an ordinary ceramic water jug and worth nothing. But with the Carling Black Label lager branding, it does add value to it. And again, approximately £10. And I will just check the base of the Johnny Walker water jugs. Exactly the same. Wade PDM. So both these jugs made by the same manufacturer. So I'm hoping those customers with home bars will snap them up. And finally, now there are 4 of these, and this is the Tabacchiana, and these are Tedley's Export ashtrays. Now, I suppose, depending where you're from in the world, cigarette smoking has been banned to a certain extent, or maybe not. In the UK, you can't smoke in public places, certainly not in pubs and restaurants, and there's quite tight restrictions. So again, it's people who still smoke at home, or they have their home bar, I'm hoping would buy these. As I said, there's 4 of them. And they can also, of course, be used as pin dishes or catch-alls in your hallway. So when you come home, you just throw your car keys in it. Whatever. It could be a desktop ornament or purely for display. Again, it's the branding elements of it that increases the value of it. And it was made by Castle Ceramics. So I can do a little bit of research about them, find out where in the, I'm assuming the UK they're from, whether they're still in business, and what else they manufacture. There's no huge age to these. They have plastic inserts in the base, and they're all there. Presumably just stop scratching the surface that it's put on. But it's a nice design, very traditional, the Tedley's design. And one for the beer drinker, I think. Right, there you go. So that is the completion of the 2 job lot boxes. In total, they cost me £22. And if I work on my lower estimate for selling each of the items, I think I can make a return of £315 or thereabouts, give or take a few pounds. So that's approximately 14 times what I paid, which is why it's always worth checking out the job lots when you go to an auction. If I achieve that, I'll be extremely happy. Even if I achieve half of that, I've still made a really good profit. So I'd have to call that a success. Anyway, if you're still watching and you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful, please like, comment and subscribe to support the channel and the community. If you are a new subscriber, let me know where in the world you're from and I'll add you to the digital subscriber list that should be scrolling across the bottom of the screen as I speak. But as ever, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.